Got the game from the old school. Focus on break no rules. Operate on my own truth. I've been making my own moves. I keep hearing this game saying you could be the one if you so choose. Got the game from the old school. Focus on break no rules. Operate on my own truth. I've been making my own moves. I keep hearing this game saying you could be the one if you.
Alright guys, Fuller coming to you with another video. Shout outs to the whole LDBC. If you're not subscribed to this page, I invite you to subscribe to the page. And I also invite you to press the like button and the bell icon to stay up to date on the content that is to come from this video. So, I was talking to a friend of mine and, I mess with Nigeria, okay? I mess with Nigerians too. I have family over there who works over there, who have good business over there, and who get things done over there. I mess with that place, okay? But unfortunately, Nigeria gets a bad rap, right? Nigeria gets a bad rap because you have certain elements of Nigeria when you look everywhere. I'm sorry to say, when you look at different countries, like when you look at Europe, Nigerians are involved in crimes. When you look at here, even Nigerians are involved. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean, just recently, like 70 Nigerians were rounded up for doing that 419 scam, So, unfortunately, Nigerians get a bad rap, all right? And it doesn't have to be this way, but unfortunately it is this way. The thing is about Nigerians, man, is they're some of the most gifted, some of the most focused people. But the problem is when that focus goes towards something that, necessarily will give them a bad reputation, right? But I mean, when you look at some prominent Nigerians, they hold positions. I mean, there's one Nigerian right now. He's the Secretary General of OPEC. There's another Nigerian who's in the UN, United Nations. There's many prominent Nigerians. When you look in the past, you had Hakeem Olajuwon, one of the best centers that we've had in the history of NBA. The problem is when, those, the bad elements get involved. And so now, I was talking to a friend, like, damn, man, it's really going up in South Africa right now. So for those of you guys who don't know, in South Africa, man, they're having like a xenophobic problem, and what they're doing, is they're blaming, foreigners, they're blaming black foreigners, that is, for taking the jobs of South Africans, of native South Africans. So, you may have like a Nigerian storekeeper there. You may have like a Somalian storekeeper. You may have a, like someone from a different part of Africa who has settled in South Africa for its relative stability, and they have made a life for themselves there, and they have, found their element, have found their peace there, And so because of that, a lot of South Africans aren't happy, because when you really think about South Africa, it's nice, don't get me wrong, it's real nice there, but at the same time, it's kind of poor there, South Africa is pretty poor. And it's especially poor for, I want to say it's especially poor for, black South Africans. So that frustration gets taken out on other Africans who have found a way to make a living there, And the sad thing about this xenophobia, is, this is the thing about this whole situation, all right? I can understand the frustration. I can understand, not having jobs and stuff like that. I get it. But at the same time, where is this energy towards the people who caused that crap? Where is the energy towards the settlers who brought apartheid to South Africa and it never ended? Apartheid never ended in South Africa. As many people would like to believe it ended. That shit didn't end. So why not put that energy towards them instead of putting it towards someone who shares the same hue as you and who won't bother you? Okay? I understand there's probably some criminal elements with the migrants who come there and work. But don't you think the biggest criminal element is, accepting your land being taken by a people who still don't respect you to this day? Who still don't look at you as a human being to this day? Who still are taking land from you and asking the President of the United States to help them take land from you? Us Africans have a problem, man. We don't like each other. We really don't like each other. And that shit needs to stop, man. That shit is alien to us. I'm reading a book right now that shows that, before colonialization, although there were conflicts between us, for the most part, there was some kind of social cohesion between tribes. No matter what tribe it was. No matter if you were a Mandinga. No matter if you were a Fula. No matter if you were a Wolof. No matter if you were like Hausa. There was still some cohesion between us. So with that being said, man, we need to wake up and smell the coffee, man. This mess is not cool, man. For real. I don't like seeing this, man. Us killing each other. Shit. Are we really any better than our brothers here? When we talk about black on black crime, are we really any better? We're not better. When you really think about it. Sorry, this siren's pretty loud. But when you really think about it, man, all like blood and Crips is like basically warring tribes going at it with each other. All one block is going at it with another block. It's just like warring tribes going at it. So it's like we're not even like that different in Africa, man, when we do this kind of stuff, man. So it's like we can't even say like, oh, we're civilized and oh, we have culture. Yeah, sure, we may have culture, man, but if we're doing this in our culture, is it really pushing the culture forward? And guess what? someone sits back and is just laughing at this, you know? Someone sits back and is just laughing, you know, seeing us do this to each other. You know that? And I'll tell you what, he's not our complexion. So there was an excerpt from a book I read. Maurice Bishop said it best. I mean, everybody said it. Every revolutionary has said it. Every last one of them has said it about divide and conquer. Every last one of them has said the same thing over and over again. But it's like we don't want to take heed to their words. Maurice Bishop said, you know, for those of you guys who don't know, Maurice Bishop was used to be the Prime Minister of Grenada, which is an island in the Caribbean. It was the only English-speaking Caribbean island to have a revolution. You know, he has that honor of being the only one to do that. Okay. In the book that he wrote, he said what the Europeans did that they were successful at doing is they separated people based on language. So he said if you spoke Spanish, you were looked at as better. If you spoke French, you were looked at as better than the dude who spoke Spanish. If you spoke Dutch, you were looked at as the guy who's better than the dude who spoke Spanish and the dude who spoke French. If you were a dude who spoke English, the British English, you were looked at as the dude who was better than all three, you know, better speaking than the other ones. And so then resentment comes, and then you're taught not to like each other because of those language differences, right? And that's what's happening again in South Africa. So I think there's an element inside that is telling them that, oh, you know, you're better than this dude because you speak this. You're better than this dude because you're from this tribe. Don't let this dude get a job that you rightfully deserve. So I think that's what's happening in South Africa right now. You know, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if that's what's going on. But I just say, where's that energy for the people who actually are still doing apartheid on you guys? You know, it's like as if you know, I know they fought apartheid, don't get me wrong, but the fight wasn't over with Nelson Mandela. You know, there's no reason you should be butchering another dude who shares the same hue as you with machetes and stuff, you know, using that cutlass on him. There should be no reason for that, okay? So, with this being said, you know, it's sad, man. It's sad. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, when you run into South Africans of European descent, man, they stick their nose up at you, man. They don't consider themselves African. You know, it's only by title. They're definitely not African, though. Okay? They're settlers. That's what you have to understand. Notice the difference between a native African and a settler African. That's the thing. So when you see like these, like look, it's the same thing in the Caribbean. When you see these people, they're settlers. They're not natives, okay? They're settlers. So when you see like a group of Indians and stuff like that in the Caribbean, they're settlers. They're not natives to that place, man. When you see Indians in Kenya, when you see Indians in Tanzania, they're settlers. They're not native. Same goes with these like Europeans. When you see them in Zimbabwe, when you see them in Namibia, when you see them in South Africa, they're settlers. They're not native. So I mean, by nationality, they're African. But by phenotype and all the rest of the stuff, they're not. And what makes you think they're going to act like they are? They're not. So, you know, why is this aggression towards your true African brother when it's not happening towards the one who set up the system the way it is over there? You know, you have to deconstruct it from the bottom. It doesn't just like it's not going to change by these xenophobic actions. It's going to change from going at the system that was put there in the first place. And the system that was put there in the first place was not a system by South Africans. It was done by European settlers. So, you know, this is just my 2 cents on this issue, man. You know, it happens too much. You know, this crap still happens. You know, it's gotten to the point where the Nigerian president, Buhari, you know, South Africans in Nigeria, he's kind of going hard on them because of the crap that's going on over there, you know, in South Africa. And so this is all bad, man. It's just another example of divide and conquer that we need to stop. We need to stop this cycle, man, for real. This shit needs to end, you know. Forward ever, backward never, man. We got to stop it with these cycles, man. We may have differences of language. We may have differences of culture. But one thing that doesn't separate us is we're from the continent. You know, be it we're from West Africa, like myself. Be it we're from East Africa, like my brethren, Nip Hustle. You know, be it that, you know, we're from, some people are from South Africa. We all have a common enemy, man. Besides ourselves, we have the other enemy too. But it seems like we don't want to acknowledge that. You know, we don't want to talk about that. It seems like we're afraid to talk about that for some reason. And that's the one we really need to be talking about. Real talk. But anyhow, man, that's all I got on it. Leave your thoughts and leave your comments about this whole situation over there, man. Fuller signing out. Shout out.